Hello and welcome to the Washed Up Managers podcast. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Tonight we'd be talking about the Danny Grant's experience with the hockey team and the Hobart game, which was a crazy game last year. I'm going to be asking you a few questions about managing the hockey team and your experience with it.
All right, sounds good.
So first question I'm going to ask you is, can you talk about sophomore year a little bit when you started managing the Curry hockey team?
My sophomore year was our first full season with the hockey team. Freshman year we only played 5 games because of the COVID pandemic. So our sophomore year was our first full season. We played 25 games, and we did really good. We had the record was I think 26-9-3, I believe, and we did really good. We had a lot of success. We beat a lot of teams, really good teams, and then we had a good conference run in the playoffs. We beat Suffolk in a very close game, and then in the second round of the conference playoffs, we lost an overtime thriller to Endicott.
What was the score of that game? Do you remember?
It was 2-1 in overtime.
Was that home?
No, it was at Endicott. It was a packed barn. We scored the first goal, and then later in the game they scored, and then it went to overtime, and overtime was very close too, and Endicott ended up being the winners.
Endicott, did you guys play Endicott a lot that year?
I think we played them 3 times. I believe I think we won, and then they won, and then we won again. So it was kind of a close season series.
Like a back and forth each game.
Yeah.
I understand that from the experience you had from sophomore year managing the Curry College hockey team, how did the team do your junior year?
Our junior year, we did fairly better. We had few losses, and we were consistently nationally ranked throughout the season. We climbed up as high as being nationally ranked 5th in the country, and and we had better playoff success that year too, because it was the first time we made the NCAA tournament in 10 years, because we lost in the Commonwealth Coast Conference Championship to Endicott. We got shut out 6-0, which is unfortunate. But our success during that season earned us an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament.
Did you guys have a lot of seniors on the team that year?
I think we had 5 or 6 seniors on that team my junior year, and all of them were really good, and all the seniors were really good, and a lot of our underclassmen were really good too, and and players in my class too. We were a well-rounded team of very good players from all positions and all lines.
Moving on to your senior year, can you talk about how the team did, the experience and all that for your senior year?
So our senior year, we did exceptionally well during the season. We much like my junior year, we were consistently nationally ranked, and we were a really good team. As much as last year, we beat a lot of good teams, but at the beginning of the season, though, we kind of struggled to find our identity. We kind of lost some important games, and we also lost to some more or less successful teams. So that really kind of put us in a bad spot in the beginning of the season. We tried to find our identity, trying to find out who we are as a group, but eventually halfway through the season, we found our niche, and we started winning. And the most notable turnaround was we went on a 12-game winning streak, and that really propelled us in back into the rankings. And uh, it was pretty much a big reason why we got another at-large bid into the NCAA tournament.
That's awesome. Um, Going on to you saying the NCAA tournament. I've heard that you've had a lot of experience in NCAA tournament hockey games. Can you explain how that is different than just like a normal regular season game?
Yeah, so the NCAA tournament is very different from conference playoffs. And when you reach the NCAA tournament, it's a really you really you find a lot of really good teams in the tournament, lots of great teams in the tournament that don't really lose that much, and they win a lot, and they play great, and they can really put out a show on the ice. And there's like 80 something hockey teams in the NCAA and in Division 3, and only 14 or 16 teams make it. So it's really tough competition in there. And it's a great thing to be a part of. And it really propels you into the national stage when you get into the NCAA playoffs. And you play teams from like New York, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. It really puts you on the national stage.
Oh wow! Is How does that like work? Is it like based off if you win the conference?
Yeah, so if you win the conference, you automatically get into the NCAA tournament. But if you do good enough during the regular season and in the playoffs, then you could earn an at-large bid, which is determined by a NCAA committee that decides who gets an at-large bid and who doesn't. So it really depends on how well you do during the regular season and how good of a team you have. And getting an at-large bid is you know you're being considered to be in the national spotlight. And it's really a breathtaker, and it gets you to the edge of your seat, trying being in that conversation for an at-large bid. You don't know if you're going to make it or not, so it's really relieving when you do get one.
I bet it is. You guys have made it the past 3 years, so and you guys have done very well. I've noticed that you guys had a really extraordinary game this year against Hobart, who's another really good team. Um, can you explain like the day of the game, like and how everything goes compared to like the puck drop and all that, like the traveling and all that for that game specifically?
So yeah, so like last year when we went to the NCAA tournament for the first time, we played Hobart last year, that my junior year, and they beat us 5-1 that year. And then my senior year, when we went to the NCAA tournament again, we we played Hobart in the same round. So almost on the exact day, to the day. So like when we went to Hobart and played them, it's like we never left. It was like we were we had that experience from last year. And it's like we never left New York, and we were hungrier than ever to beat them. Hobart is arguably the best team in the country. I think this year they were ranked number one in the entire country, which truly is something. So when the NCAA tournament, you kind of play teams that are like quite a distance away. Uh, the journey to Hobart, it was a 6-hour bus ride.
Oh
So
wow.
we brought all of our practice gear, practice jerseys, our game jerseys, all of our equipment, and all of our spare equipment too. We basically pretty much bring everything to Hobart. So once we get to Hobart, we get to the rink and set everything up. And usually when we get off of the bus and go into the rink and settle down and everything, we practice. We run a short practice and get the blood pumping, get the legs moving and everything, and sort of go over our plan and what we need to do to beat Hobart. So, and I was in charge of all the equipment, so I tended to any equipment needs during practice and make sure everything was set up properly and all that fun stuff. And then after that practice, we head to the hotels and stay overnight. We all the players typically room with each other. Um, this year, I got the room by myself, and I had a single room, and I got a view of the lake because we were in Geneva, New York. We were like right next to the lake, and I got a nice view of the lake, which was cool.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so we stay overnight at the hotel, and then we go to dinner, and then we it's lights out at 11, and then on the next day is game day. So on game day, um, there'll be an optional morning skate. That's when I would then that's what I would go over, like any final equipment needs or final setup, anything I need to do.
Mhm.
And then we have breakfast and lunch, and we have some time to hang out and gather our thoughts. And then I use that time to mentally prepare and get ready. So um, the puck drop was at 7, so at 6 o'clock I head over to the rink, which was across the street from the hotel. So I walked to the rink and got ready, sat out the bench and everything,
Mhm.
and ultimately got ready for the game. And to go over the recap of the game itself, it was really neck to neck pretty much. Unlike the year before where they beat us 5-1, they really ran us out of the rink. This year was really different because it really went down to the wire. So we started off the game 1-0, and then not long after that, we scored again, and it was 2-0. We were beating Hobart 2-0, and I was thinking to myself, "Wow, I think we can actually beat this team."
Mhm.
So, and then in the second or third period, Hobart started to trickle back, and they tied it 2-2, and then um, and then we got the tiebreaker, and we made it 3-2. And then in the dying minutes of the third, Hobart scored and tied it 3-3, and then we head into overtime. So in overtime, none of us, no one scored, and it was like that for like 4 overtimes. So it was like another 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So it was basically a game that was 6 hours long, and it was crazy because that was like the longest game I've ever been a part of. Players were cramping up, and our trainer was, giving snacks to the players, helping them rehydrate, and giving them electrolytes and all that. And there was a couple broken sticks that I had to take care of, and I had to take care of some equipment needs, and trying to be as much as a help as I can. And around midnight, Hobart scored and finally ended the game, and which was unfortunate because we really thought, well, I really thought that we were going to win that one because we really gave them their money's worth. We really gave them a run for their money, but it was ultimately we got beat by the best. Hobart won 4-3, and it was really a historical game to be a part of.
Yeah. It must have been, they played their hearts out for that game. It must have been a bummer to walk away with the loss, but they gave it their all. Um, How was this different from any other game you managed?
It was definitely a different game because I never really managed a game that went that long. Usually it was like just an overtime and that was it, you know. But that game was really crazy. It was like 6 hours long, and it was like you didn't really know what was going to happen next, you know. And it was just it was just a crazy game all around.
Yeah, seems crazy. Um, it must have been like the longest game for D3 tournament hockey. I wonder.
Yeah, I think it broke. I think it tied it or broke a record for like the second longest game in Division 3 hockey history, I believe. It was something like that, which was crazy. And I was a part of it, so it's safe to say I'm a part of I'm a part of history.
Yeah, you always will be. Um, Out of that whole time, out of that game, is there some, even though you guys lost, is there something you would take away from that game?
Um, I think I think there was a couple things to take away from it. I mean, the first one is, even though you think you're prepared for the game, from a manager perspective, you know, you really don't know what would happen. I didn't think it would go 4 overtime, so you kind of have to um, prepare and think on your toes with that. And then another one is another thing I could take away is you can beat anybody. Even though we lost, we hung on to the very end against the best team in the country. So that really gave me a reminder that it's fair game for everybody, no matter who you are. If you're the best team in the country or you're the worst team in the country, everyone has a shot to win. And that game was an example of that. We hung on to them and we almost beat them.
That's awesome. I have another question for you. Do you have like a favorite memory?
I don't know. I have a lot of favorite memories, but I think just my favorite memory is just being part of the success that they've had. Just like my overall experience with the team, because how lucky am I to be a part of a nationally ranked Division 3 hockey team. That is something to be proud of. Not many people get to say that. I was the team manager for a nationally ranked college team. No one, very few people get to say that. And I'm one of the few people. So that's kind of a memory to cherish, and something I'll never forget.
You could also say that you played in one of the longest games in D3 hockey history.
Yeah, I'm part of something historic, and that is something that I'm proud of too. It's I'm part of that history. People bring it up and say, oh, that was a very long game. That was a the entire college hockey world was watching that game, and I could say, oh, I managed that game. I was the team manager for that game, and that's something I'll never forget.
Um, did you one more another question after the game? Like, I understand when the mood was like terrible, everybody wished like they won, but like, is there like, did you guys like do anything as a team after anything?
Um, I mean, after the game, we were, of course, we were bummed that we were right there with them, so we were kind of bummed that we lost, but we also, I think we were also relieved that the game finally came to an end because the players were all exhausted from playing that long. They never played a game that was that long before, so they were relieved that it was finally over. So and then after the game, we got back on the got back on the bus and drove to the hotel, even though it was across the street. So we after we went back to the hotel, the some of the parents of the players got us all pizza and beer that was supposed to be given to us when the game was supposed to end, but it is what it is. So we got to eat lukewarm pizza, and we got to have some beer. So it was kind of a good team bonding experience to sort of cap off an amazing season.
Yeah, sure is. You guys did have an amazing season. You guys should be very proud of yourself, and for you specifically, throughout all the hard work you did throughout your 4 years as a Curry hockey team manager.
Yeah.
Um, is there like any game that you managed that like stands out the most?
Um, that Hobart game definitely stood out to me. The four overtimes and everything, but uh, probably um, probably the game that sticks out to me the most would probably be the game before that when we went to SUNY Geneseo and we beat them 3-0. Our first NCAA road victory in the NCAA tournament. That was probably one of my favorite games to be a part of because um, not only that we got our first road win in tournament history, but I I got my 70th win, in the process, during my career as a Curry team manager. So it was very that was a historic night in itself too, on a personal level.
Nice. Um, is there like something you take away from like the whole managing the Curry hockey team, like a message that like the coaches like preach to you guys or something?
Um, there's a couple things I would take away. I mean, one thing, probably the most important thing for me was, I discovered a true passion of mine, which is being an equipment manager. This is something that I would love to do professionally, and probably ultimately work in the NHL someday because the equipment manager, is a very important job in a hockey team, even though people don't really see it. It's a very integral role on a team, and it keeps the team going. And then another thing I would take away is something that the coach would always preach to us. If we had a bad game or wants to pump us up or anything, is that any team can beat anybody on any given night or any given game, no matter if you're the best or the worst. Everyone has a fair shot of beating a team. Anyone can win, and we've been through situations like that where some mediocre teams would beat us, even though we were the heavy favorite, or we would beat a better team than us. It's all about who wants it more and who plays better, and that's something I've learned. Not sort of to not get in our heads and say that we're the best team. Because people, you know, teams are willing to humble us, and so we gotta bring our A game to every game, no matter who we play.
I completely agree. Thank you so much for answering these questions and talking about the Hobart game and talking about your experience with the managing the Curry College hockey team throughout your time at Curry. This this has been another episode of Washed Up Managers. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. I'm Teddy Wachi.
And I'm Danny Grant.
Have a good night.
Thank you.